conseguido acesso à primeira divisão do Campeonato Gaúcho.
From not being able to afford food and travel cost to being one of Brazil's greatest football talents, a player whose journey from poverty to the biggest stages in world football is nothing short of inspiring. Wait a minute, many fit that description, but I am referring to Raphinha. Unlike many Brazilian stars, Raphinha's path wasn't paved through famous academies. From street football in Brazil to representing his country on the international stage, Raphinha's journey is proof that resilience can turn dreams into reality. Today, we will take a deep dive into the life of Raphinha, the rise and the lifestyle led by one of football's most electrifying players. So, if you think the road to success is easy, think again. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe as we get started. Let us start with a little background story. Raphinha, born Rafael Dias Beloli on December 14, 1996, grew up far from the Brazil the world likes to imagine. No beaches, no glamour. His neighborhood, Restinga, was a place where opportunity was rare and survival shaped everything. Life there wasn't about dreaming big, it was about getting through the day. His father worked as a musician, taking jobs where he could. His mother was a cleaner, stretching every bit of money to make ends meet. Some days there was enough, other days there wasn't. Football boots were a luxury. Sometimes they were shared. Sometimes they were worn thin past their limit. Nothing was guaranteed, except football. In Restinga, football wasn't taught, it was lived. Games broke out on concrete, not grass. There were no referees, no protection, no patience. If you didn't protect the ball, you didn't play again. If you hesitated, you were pushed aside. Dribbling wasn't about flair, it was survival. Speed wasn't about style, it was escape. That's where Raphinha's edge was born. Not polished, not soft, but sharp. Unlike many Brazilian stars, he wasn't discovered early. There were no scouts chasing him, no academy fast-tracking his future. Trials came and went, rejections followed. Even clubs in his own city didn't believe. At one point, Internacional, one of Porto Alegre's biggest teams, turned him away. For most kids, that's where the dream ends. For Raphinha, it became personal. He joined Avaí, a smaller club with fewer resources and no guarantees. Training conditions were basic. Competition was brutal. He wasn't protected by the system, he was fighting inside it. There were moments when quitting crossed his mind, not because he lacked belief, but because belief doesn't pay rent. Still, he kept showing up. Then came the decision that changed everything. At just 18 years old, with no fame and no safety net, Raphinha left Brazil. Not for Europe's giants, but for Portugal's lower divisions. A move few noticed. A risk many wouldn't take. He arrived alone, without language, without comfort, without certainty. Cold nights replaced warm streets. Small crowds replaced noise. Silence replaced familiarity. Training became his anchor. He ran harder than everyone else, pressed like someone chasing a future that could disappear at any moment. While others played to impress, Raphinha played to survive, because for him, football was still the only way forward. Slowly, something began to change. He signed with Vitória de Guimarães, knowing almost no one was watching. The stadiums were smaller, the crowds were quieter, but the pressure was heavier. Because this time, failure didn't mean disappointment, it meant going back. From the very beginning, Raphinha played like a man with urgency in his legs. Every sprint was aggressive, every duel was personal. He didn't play to express himself, he played to secure his place. Coaches noticed the intensity first, the talent came later. Then came the breakthrough. In 2018, he moved to Sporting CP, one of Portugal's historic giants. The step up was immediate and unforgiving. Expectations were higher, competition was sharper. But Raphinha didn't shrink. He adapted, he refined his game, his decision-making improved, his movement became smarter. The chaos of the streets was learning structure. Europe began to pay attention. The real turning point came in France, with Rennes. This is where Raphinha stopped being a prospect and became a problem. League One defenders struggled to contain his directness. He played wide, but attacked centrally. He pressed relentlessly, tracked back without complaint, and still had the energy to decide games. Rennes didn't just benefit from his goals, they felt his mentality. After just one season, the jump arrived. In 2020, Raphinha signed for Leeds United, stepping into the chaos of the Premier League under Marcelo Bielsa. For many players, Bielsa's system breaks them. For Raphinha, it revealed everything he was built for: high intensity, constant movement, no hiding. He became Leeds' heartbeat almost instantly. In a team that ran until exhaustion, Raphinha still found extra gears. He scored crucial goals, created chances out of nothing, fought for every second ball like it mattered, because to him, it always did. Even when Leeds struggled, Raphinha didn't disappear. He carried responsibility, and the world noticed. In 2022, the call he had been running toward finally came. FC Barcelona, one of the biggest clubs on earth, wanted him. Not because he was flashy, not because he was marketable, but because he fit a need: intensity with purpose.
At Barcelona, the spotlight was unforgiving. Expectations were immediate. The badge carried weight. And early on, the adjustment wasn't easy. Competition was fierce, scrutiny constant. But Raphinha didn't retreat. He leaned into the fight. Goals came, big goals. Assists followed. Moments where the noise of Camp Nou turned into affirmation. He wasn't always the most elegant player on the pitch, but he was often the most driven. Managers trusted him because he never stopped working. Teammates respected him because he never stopped caring. Fans learned that when games became uncomfortable, Raphinha didn't hide. He demanded the ball. Internationally, his rise continued with Brazil. He wasn't the obvious superstar. He wasn't handed status. He earned it through reliability, discipline, and impact. In a national team filled with flair, Raphinha brought edge, balance, grit. What defines Raphinha's professional life is not a single transfer or a single season. It's trajectory. The good thing about hard work is that it always pays off. Raphinha didn't grow up thinking about money. He grew up thinking about escape. So when people talk about his net worth today, they miss the point. Because every figure attached to Raphinha's name is less about luxury and more about distance. Distance from uncertainty, distance from hunger, distance from a life where nothing was promised. As of 2026, Raphinha's net worth is most consistently estimated at around 30 to 35 million euros, with several reputable reports converging near the 35 million euro mark. Some outlets place the figure slightly higher, depending on bonuses and asset valuation, but the story behind the number matters far more than the number itself. Raphinha's financial rise was gradual, almost invisible at first. In Portugal, his early contracts at Vitória de Guimarães and Sporting CP paid modestly by elite football standards. He wasn't earning millions, he was earning opportunity. His wages during this phase were closer to survival income than security, a reminder that even professional football doesn't guarantee comfort at the beginning. The first real financial shift came in France, at Rennes, where his salary climbed into the low million euro range. It was the first time football began to offer stability, not wealth, but breathing room. Then came Leeds United. In England, Raphinha's wages rose significantly. He earned around £3 million per year, a huge leap from anything he had known before. But even then, his net worth didn't explode, because Premier League money came with responsibility, expectations, and pressure. He was no longer chasing survival, he was protecting momentum. The defining financial moment of Raphinha's career came in 2022, when FC Barcelona signed him from Leeds for an initial fee of around 58 million euros, potentially rising with add-ons. That transfer didn't just change his career, it reset his earning ceiling. At Barcelona, Raphinha's salary jumped into elite territory. He initially earned around 10 to 12 million euros gross per year, and in May 2025, he signed a new contract extension that raised his base salary to approximately 14.5 to 16.6 million euros per year, with bonuses pushing potential annual earnings even higher. That single contract alone is worth over 50 million euros across 3 years, placing Raphinha firmly among Barcelona's top earners and accelerating his net worth growth faster than any previous stage of his career. Raphinha's commercial portfolio is still developing, but it's deliberate. His primary endorsement is with Adidas, which became official in 2024. The deal includes boot sponsorship, marketing appearances, and global exposure through Barcelona and the Brazilian national team. While exact figures aren't public, such deals for players of his profile typically generate seven-figure annual income when fully activated across campaigns. He has also signed selective partnerships with brands like BitGet, expanding his off-pitch earnings without oversaturating his image. Unlike players who chase every deal early, Raphinha's endorsements mirror his personality: controlled, focused, and built for long-term growth. What separates Raphinha's wealth from many modern stars is timing. He didn't earn early. He didn't cash in young. He didn't explode overnight. His net worth climbed because his career kept climbing. For someone who grew up sharing rooms, skipping meals, and playing for survival, 35 million euros isn't about status. It's about distance. Distance from instability. Distance from fear. Distance from ever having to go back. Raphinha doesn't live loudly. That might surprise people who watch him play, full throttle, relentless, emotional. But off the pitch, his relationship with space and comfort is shaped by something deeper than status. It's shaped by absence. When you grow up without privacy, without certainty, without a place that truly feels safe, you don't chase extravagance later in life. You chase stability. That's exactly how Raphinha lives. Raphinha's first understanding of home wasn't luxury. It was crowding, shared rooms, limited space, little separation between rest and survival. So when success arrived, he didn't look for spectacle, he looked for room to breathe. Today, Raphinha lives primarily in Barcelona, in a modern, secure residential area chosen for privacy rather than prestige. His home is described as contemporary, comfortable, and family-oriented. Clean lines, open spaces, natural light, the kind of place designed for calm, not cameras. It's not a mansion built to impress strangers. It's a sanctuary built to protect family. Since becoming a father, that choice has mattered even more. His home is where routine replaces chaos, where mornings are quiet, evenings are predictable, and football finally stops being everything. Unlike players who invest early in sprawling estates across Europe, Raphinha has taken a measured approach to property. He's known to favor one primary residence, properly secured, properly lived in. Not multiple houses, not seasonal displays of wealth. For someone who once shared everything, ownership is about control, not excess. And that's the pattern. Raphinha's car collection tells the same story. There are no reports of hypercars lined up for attention, no rotating supercars screaming for headlines. His taste leans toward high performance, practical luxury, cars that combine comfort, power, and reliability. He has been associated with premium European brands, the kind favored by professionals who commute daily to training grounds, airports, and matches. Cars that offer speed when needed, but silence when not. Vehicles chosen for function, not noise. It's worth noting that Raphinha became a high earner relatively late compared to many stars. That shapes spending habits. When money comes after struggle, not before, it's treated with respect. His cars reflect that mindset. They aren't trophies, they're tools. Transport that fits a routine built around discipline, training, recovery, family time. Cars that disappear into garages instead of reappearing on social media feeds. Even as his earnings have increased significantly at Barcelona, his lifestyle hasn't shifted dramatically. No sudden reinvention, no flashy declarations of arrival. Because for Raphinha, arrival was never the goal. Raphinha's mansions, or rather the lack of them, and his understated car choices are not signs of limitation. They're signs of intention. He doesn't need to prove he made it. He knows what it cost. What matters to him is distance, from instability, from noise, from the feeling of having nowhere to land. His home gives him something he never had growing up: control over his environment. His cars give him reliability, movement without uncertainty. That's the real luxury. Not marble floors or exotic engines, but the ability to choose quiet. On the pitch, Raphinha is relentless, aggressive, emotional. A winger who presses like a midfielder and celebrates goals like they carry weight. But away from football, Raphinha is quiet, guarded, intentional. Because his life off the pitch is built around something he never had growing up: stability. Family is his main anchor. Always has been. His parents struggled financially, but they never withdrew support. His mother carried the household through work and sacrifice. His father, a musician, passed on creativity and emotion, traits that still show in the way Raphinha plays. He has spoken before about how those early years left marks, not trauma he runs from, but memory he carries. It's why he never forgets where he came from, and why success for him is not about indulgence, it's about responsibility. In 2022, Raphinha married Natalia Rodriguez, someone who knew him long before the world did. Their relationship is private by design. No oversharing, no curated perfection, just presence, partnership, normality in a life that could easily lose it. In 2023, they welcomed their first child, a son named Gael. Fatherhood changed Raphinha, not his ambition, but his perspective. Football stopped being everything. It became something he carried, alongside responsibility. Faith also plays a quiet role in his life. Raphinha doesn't preach. He doesn't perform belief. But those close to him describe someone deeply grounded, someone who believes his journey had meaning even when it felt random. He often gestures upward after goals, not as a show, as gratitude.
Another defining part of Raphinha's personal life is privacy. He rarely opens the door fully. Social media shows moments, but never everything. He understands how quickly fame can consume people, especially those who didn't grow up with much. So he keeps the circle small. Family, a few close friends, football, that's it. And when the noise fades and the stadium lights dim, Raphinha doesn't look for the spotlight, he looks for home. Because his story was never about a perfect path. It was about persistence, about choosing to run when standing still felt easier. So remember this, greatness doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives with discipline, with gratitude, with a small circle and a calm house. And a winger who still plays like the street is one mistake behind him. Raphinha didn't just escape where he came from, he carries it, carefully, proudly, into every game, turning the weight of memory into fuel, and the fear of yesterday into the focus of tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and I do hope you enjoyed this video. Kindly like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that the way out is real, and the way forward is earned, one step at a time. I'll see you in the next story.